Arsenal are not going through, Yahi. Whether it's Real Madrid or Atletico, they're out, Yahi. Yahi, they're out to both, Yahi. Stop. Mo, please, can you not gaslight this season?
Merino Saka, golazo del Arsenal, que marca el primero en el Bernabéu y que ahora sí coloca el partido y la eliminatoria en el territorio no del milagro, sino del catálogo completo de milagros para...
Saka scores. It's over. It's over. It's over.
Arsenal won.
Se acabó. Wallah, I'm not doing it for clicks, I'm not doing it for views, I'm being dead serious. This is exactly what's going to happen, minute by minute. We'll score first in the first 15 minutes of the game. And then from there, Real Madrid will not win the game. Arsenal will lose the game. Because I've seen you guys for the past 3 years. I've seen you crumble on the crowd. Close roof, by the way. I don't know if you've seen that. Bro, you guys will be stunned. Arteta, you think he's been in that position before? You think he's been in a position where he can mentally change the little players? You think Declan Rice was can I take a free kick? Hell no! Saka? Is that one no?
And he's shushing me as well. And so Wallah, he's doing the celebration as well. Say Wallah, you let him do the celebration. Say Wallah, I'll do the celebration on us as well. Say Wallah, this team is dead, fam. Wallah, bun this team, bro. Bun this team.
No, por dentro, Mikel Merino. Este sí, pelota interior. Saka, gol. Gol del Arsenal, 0-1. La picó por encima de Courtois.
These guys let Martinelli score. And then we lose the away leg. We lose the first leg. We lose the second leg. These guys let Gabriel Martinelli score. Is that Martinelli? Do my eyes deceive me?
And our defense is very good, and that is what's going to bring us through the Champions League, and that is what's going to make us lift that title. Something that we've been singing for years now.
Yardman, so you actually genuinely believe right here, right now, that we are going to go on and lift this Champions League trophy?
Well, what to stop us? What to stop us? You see how we're playing.
2 seconds earlier.
He's not going to win us nothing! Absolutely nothing! He need to fucking go! Give us a manager who can do something!
Listen.
Nothing!
Martinelli, gol del Arsenal para terminar la eliminatoria 1-2.
And then listen, there's another big problem, yeah? He's called Declan Rice. Are we still doing this thing where you lot are pretending this ain't a £40 million player, bro?
Well, allow it.
Declan Rice. We're gonna see.
We're seeing.
Listen. You see here.
Rice.
Wait, listen. You see here now, yeah? In the knockouts of the Champions League, yeah? We'll see if he's a £100 million player.
Talk up the things.
When he scores, cool, but listen to this.
Don't bread
listen to this. I know. Listen to this. You see Jude Bellingham. You see that 100 million. It's gonna look like 100 million at the highest level of football.
We'll see, bro.
We'll see.
I hear what you're saying.
Hey, listen to this. We'll see if there's a midfielder that costs 105 million pound not getting it on a half turn.
Welcome back to the Top 6 show. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. A magnificent week of Champions League football. We're going to be unpacking it all. We're looking at Arsenal, Inter's chances. It really is an open tournament moving forward. I think we've got to address a little bit of the Arsenal nonsense in the build-up to this round. And will people now just finally admit that Arsenal have a chance in big games at the very least? Of course, we've got to talk about Virgil van Dijk's new deal. Big Ange, has he already been sacked? Could he be gone by close of business tonight? We're delving into all of that. Plus, Jurgen Klopp could be on his way to Real Madrid. Real Madrid. He could be on his way to Real Madrid, to the behest of Liverpool fans. But I thought he was too tired. I thought he was in semi-retirement. All that and much, much more to come tonight this afternoon on the Top 6 show. I'm in my head, I think it's 6 o'clock. It's only 3 p.m. So get the like button hit. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace and make sure you get the bell notification button turned on. A brilliant panel for you today. KJ is with us. I've let him out from behind the scenes doing thumbnails and, doing the clips and being relegated purely to the match reaction stuff. The biggest reason is not a lot of people were free. So KJ is here with us today. We've got man like Tom Little, a little smile on his face with his 1993 haircut, looking really, really good. David's here, still angry after Arsenal won last night. You can see it in him. He was meant to be on a date today. He rejected her. He said, go away. Get out of here. Get away. Only because she said she fancied going out for a rice bowl. He went, fuck that. We ain't going out. It was done. Henry Talks Football is here with that fucking weird haircut still. I last week with that haircut, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Honestly.
Thanks.
It's like one side's drooping lower than the other. It's like your hair's had a stroke. What is going on here?
Shower and then just kind of do that. And I'll just do an Odegaard hair flick and that's it.
Ah, bogey's in it. And Egal is here, who looks like the cat that got the cream after last night's result. So welcome everybody. And KJ, I was only joking. Don't be upset. I love you really, brother.
No, I know. Don't worry. Because without me, this show don't exist. So it's all good.
This is true because I wouldn't get it organized. I'd get to after this happened. People don't realize this. This show, before KJ worked properly for the Terrace, I'd get to like 40 minutes before the show and I go, fuck, I'll be in the gym. I go, fuck, I haven't got any panelists. I haven't asked anybody to come on. And luckily in them days, it was still semi-lockdown, so people were at home. It would never go ahead without KJ, 110%. Yes. How is everyone? Everyone well and good?
No, I'm not.
Well, I might get a message from my missus because apparently I was meant to be on a date. That's
comedic license, that was a joke. It's not real. He wasn't going on a date today. It was meant to be last night, my lovely. So yeah, David. Listen, I will say this: if David's girlfriend is watching, he definitely could be a cheat. Do you want to know why? No, he could 100% be a cheat. One, does he put the face of his phone? Does he lay it down does he lay it down like that? That's first thing. Second thing, he wears other clubs' football shirts. That means he has the propensity and proclivity to cheat. Just want to let you all know that. So yeah.
Are you saying KJ's also? Because I've seen KJ wear other people's shirts.
No.
Listen, don't bring me into this.
No. Before this show starts, this needs to happen. Terry, you are on trial. You've been dodging my messages. You need to plead guilty, right? And I want the whole community to know this. When Declan Rice put in those free kicks, the person sending in voice notes screaming was Mr. Flewers in the top left. Yeah. So when you say he's an Arsenal fan, he's got to answer his crime. Also, this man says you can't wear other teams' football kits, but for some reason you can celebrate other teams' goals. He's an embarrassment. It's hypocrisy of the highest accord, and I mean that. He
can celebrate his English.
To add to the charges. To add to the charges of being a
celebrate his English players doing well.
What was that? To add to the charges of being a fraud, Terence, hand on heart, have you worn other people's football shirts besides England and Man United? Not really. No, you would say no. That's not your way of life, right? Wait.
By and large.
Hand on heart, have you ever cheated?
On what?
On a woman.
Never, bruv. Ever. I never.
Guys, the t-shirts don't lie, bro. It don't matter. The t-shirts.
The problem is with you guys is that when we're in the, when we're away in Germany and we're chatting, we're cutting the breeze, right? I'm just joking. I'm having a bit of banter. I know I'm a very, 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 very loyal man. And I don't think I celebrated that much. Did I?
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. I'm just trying to see because I sent a voice note in. Did I?
You sent in a voice note screaming.
It's screaming so
You're,
loud.
you're
that the
screaming a lot
mic-
loud. We
the
can't
mic
hear it.
is-
It's broken the
mi-
sound barrier.
Yeah, the mic is adjusting the loudness. That's how bad it is.
Screaming. I just want everyone to know this man in the top left, he needs to plead guilty to hypocrisy.
Oh, we know. All right, listen.
Do you know what? Do you know what it is on a real one, right? I get why you would say that, and I know it's all banter when it comes to you. I know you're not like some people that actually take it seriously, but on a real level, I half did it because there's two people in that group chat that I love winding up when it comes to Arsenal, even though I'm not a gooner. It was like last night watching Don, and I want to put this out there. He's on the show tomorrow. Watching Don last night, essentially go from Arsenal got no chance to Real Madrid let me down. If Real Madrid weren't bad, Arsenal wouldn't have done this. It's just beautiful watching that happen. It really, a shame he wasn't here today, really, because it was great. But we're going to get onto the Champions League later in terms of who can win it and everything else. But 24 hours nearly later, Egal, have your feet touched back down on earth now from cloud nine? And what were your thoughts now, 24 hours later, in relation to the performance and how you played and everything else?
Terry, I am very happy. My team played really well. And the main thing is, I feel like a lot of people underestimated us. They underestimated what we're capable of doing in these kind of games, going up against this team with all those moments players defensively. That's where my eyes were open even more. To be able to slow down the likes of Jude Bellingham, Mbappé, Vinicius, Rodrigo over two legs and have them score barely anything. They had one goal and it was barely, it was like a half chance that we lost concentration for a second. And it just showed me that defensively we're up there and we're still one of the best teams, and defensively we're so elite. But offensively, we're able to take our chances. We're able to take a Real Madrid team, beat them over two legs, and really and truly, it was comfortable, I would say, for that majority of that second half. We weren't really stressed. Like, I would say the first 20 minutes was nervy, because if Real Madrid would have scored maybe one or two in the first half, it would have been very nervy. But after that, after it was halftime, I feel like everyone's nerves were gone. Bukayo Saka missed a penalty, and we all knew that he was going to right his wrongs later on, or at least I did. I had confidence in him, and I'm just so impressed by Mazu, Skelly, Kivior's performance, and the guys on the fringes of the team who've come into the team and have taken their opportunity so well. Mikel Moreno also getting 2 assists in this game. I'm just so impressed by majority of the players in the team, and they've proven me right. They proved me right with some of their performances. I've been bigging up Bukayo Saka forever. I've been talking about him compared to Rodrigo. I've been talking about all these guys at Real Madrid, comparing them to my Arsenal players, getting ridiculed for my combined 11s. And boy, they proved me right over these 2 legs. And hopefully we can go see what we can do for the rest of it. But Terry, every Arsenal fan should be proud. And every Arsenal fan should be very happy that we got through. And even if you thought we were going to get our ass handed to us, and you're a rival, you should be like, you know what, fair play, and be impressed by this team.
Yeah,
you know
what phase is Arteta in?
He's still in phase 5. No,
it's phase 4. Phase 5 is once you won the big trophies.
Phase 4.
No, I just didn't hear anyone really give a lot of praise to him last night.
Yeah, nobody really goes out of their way to praise Arteta when he does well. Because a lot of those people who praise other managers want Arteta sacked.
What was interesting though is I featured it on purpose because it was funny, and there's nothing wrong with having fun. But Yardman's gone from get Arteta halt, he can't win anything, to we're going to win the Champions League. And it's interesting what 2 great back-to-back performances have done for the mindset and the confidence of Arsenal fans. I think it was interesting that when I was watching Rivals watch-along clips today, it was more laughter at Saka's goal and then Martinelli's. I think all the week build-up to this game, the whole descending from heaven, closing the roof, ultra stuff, everybody kind of bought into it, but it felt the whole time, and we said this yesterday on Straight Facts, it was like a fighter who's well past his best that comes back and says, I'm running faster, I'm punching harder, I'm moving quicker than when I was 25. Those fighters nearly always lose. And it felt that Rivals, and it felt like Real Madrid, it felt like it was absolutely performative in the build-up. So you even saw yesterday's reactions from Rivals. It was like, ha, Yeah, they've scored. I knew that was coming. There was no sort of shock. There wasn't even anger yesterday. And I do think it's changed the minds of a few individuals in terms of, and this is why you've got to have a sensible conversation. I don't think, and nobody should think, Arsenal are going to win every game they play against every single big team. Equally, hopefully what this game has done is just put a stop to one thing, which is every time Arsenal come up against a difficult team, the Arteta outers and Arsenal's rivals just doing the same lame analysis, pre-game analysis of they've got no chance. All right, 1%. I just want that to be over because for me, it became boring because what it ended up doing, it would create fights and arguments, which are fun. But I'd sit back there as a host sometimes where I've been watching other people's content and I'm like, okay, but I've been listening 20 minutes and I've not heard a single person talk about formations, who the most important players are, what are the weaknesses in the team, how could they exploit them, where are Arsenal vulnerable? Do you get what I'm saying? It was all just zero chance. And then you'd argue over the nonsense of that more so than talking about the game. And so hopefully we see a little bit less of that in fan content by and large and a bit more of a conversation about the football. Tom, what did you make of it? Obviously, you've seen a lot of top quality Champions League football in your lifetime. How impressed were you with Arsenal over these two legs?
Very impressed. Very, very impressed. I think they went in there with a game plan across both legs and they nailed it to perfection. And they rattled that Real Madrid team from minute one. I know it ended 5-1 on aggregate, and that's kind to Real Madrid because Arsenal, some of the chances Arsenal had, some of the chances Arsenal missed, it could have been one of the most embarrassing aggregate scorelines in Champions League history. Everyone came into this tie harping on about how UCL heritage was going to carry Real Madrid through. UCL heritage. This is what Real Madrid do. I think people need to look at it and realise that the Galacticos first time didn't work. They're not going to work second time. And Arsenal exploited that lack of work rate from certain players in that Madrid squad. They nailed it. They exposed how one-dimensional that Real Madrid team is. Real Madrid yesterday were limited from minute 10 to whipping crosses in. That was it. They couldn't create any in. They were limited to whipping crosses in and hoping for a rebound. That's how strong Arsenal were. At no point in that game did I think, oh, Real Madrid have got them on the ropes here. Arsenal just need to withstand a spell of pressure. If anything, as the game kept going on and on and on, Arsenal were the more dangerous team because Real Madrid was so exposed at the back and Arsenal was so... If Martin Odegaard had a half-decent performance, Arsenal scored 5. The amount of chances they had on the breakaway, the amount of opportunities they carved for themselves by just exploiting how poorly set up that Real Madrid team was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And the midfield again, Rice, Partey, those two ran the show again like they did at the Emirates. Real Madrid couldn't handle it. Arsenal, it was a masterclass. That's what it was. It was a masterclass. Real Madrid went good across both legs, but that should not take away from how good Arsenal were. That should not take away from how good they were.
We didn't have to be good in the second leg. We did all the work in the first leg.
But I think you were good in the second leg.
You were good in a different way.
No, I'm saying we didn't have to be. That's what I'm saying.
You did. You did have to be good because if you weren't, your shape got to a point where they had no idea what to do. There was a moment in the second half where I think there'd been a corner or a free kick, and the ball ended up back with one of Real Madrid's defenders,
Vasquez.
And then every single Real Madrid player, barring the other defender that was parallel to him, was either on the 18-yard line of your box or 80. So imagine that line goes right across the football pitch. So in one straight line. And then a couple of players drop deep. And you heard Ali McCoy say on TNT Sport, I can't understand what they're doing. And the reason they were doing that is because they had no idea how to break you down. So for me, I do think you had to be good, because if you came into this thinking you'd won it, if you came into this overconfident, if you came into it not compact, hard to break down, difficult to beat, they could have scored a goal or two in the first half, and then it becomes a one-goal game, and you don't want that. I thought Arsenal were every bit as fantastic last night as they were at the Emirates, but home games, you've seen it in all the other matches, by the way, because Arsenal were the only team to win home and away in the quarterfinals. You've seen it when you get to this level of football, you can beat a team quite comfortably like PSG did Villa, and then Villa went and beat them back. It was just that one goal shy. So for you to do what you did, Saka missing a penalty, Odegaard giving it away on counterattacks, and the fact their goal only came from a brain fart from Saliba, it really and truly, it was, you scored 5, you could have scored 7 or 8. Barring that Mbappé chance in the first leg, where were their chances? There was none. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
You just got to look at that set. That game, all I've heard all season long is Vinicius this, Mbappé that, Rodrigo this, Bellingham that. Vinicius was relegated to Mark Albright. Run down line, try and put crossing at byline. And every single one was blocked by Timber because Vinicius Jr. can't cross the ball. Mbappé, where was he? Rodrigo, he might as well have not played across either leg. He did nothing across both legs. And Bellingham
that's more of a system thing. That's Carlo Ancelotti not getting. I think if they had a more attacking minded coach who's not trying to whip it into absolutely no one, it's not like they had an elite number 9 in the box who wins heading.
I think Real Madrid could have played that a different way yesterday, not putting crossing, and Arsenal still win that game quite comfortably.
I think they're idiots.
The players didn't believe it. They kept coming out saying this remontada stuff. They didn't believe it, and you could watch them play. If they believed it, they wouldn't be crossing it in. If they believed it, they'd be trying to use their individual brilliance. Instead, they were just hoping and praying for luck. They were hoping and praying that something would happen in a mistake in that Arsenal backline. At no point did I see any of this individual brilliance I'm supposed to see from this Real Madrid team. These Galacticos. The individual brilliance was Lewis Skelly, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka. They were the Galacticos across both legs.
No, but I was going to say, they went into this game thinking that we were going to crumble. And that their pressure from all the media circus, everything that they did, literally, they have a media conglomerate literally behind them, backing them, trying to do psychological warfare on our fans and our players. And we went into this game, we didn't let it bother us.
They're rolling like Putin.
We went into this second leg, and the players even acknowledged it. They heard all the stuff about them saying they're coming back. I've never seen a team 3-0 down so confident that they're gonna come back. It was ridiculous.
But I felt again.
I just say I feel like part of that is like Real Madrid putting stuff out, but also Arsenal fans echoing it out as well. Like I feel like there was a lot of stuff going on, but every time they put something out, Arsenal fans on top of it would be like, "Oh, look what they're saying." This and it just. I genuinely think. No,
you're right.
Egal. I'm not saying that. Arsenal are terrible. They shouldn't have done that. What I'm saying is that Real Madrid set themselves up to get cooked. Because if there's one team you're gonna lose a social media war to in terms of reposts and this, that, and the other, it's Arsenal. They're always online.
They got their tactics wrong. Sometimes. You know what? When I was younger and I first started going out to bars, clubs, going out at night, my dad always said to me, like, first of all, don't run your mouth up. Even if your mates are there, your brother's there, like, because bad things can happen. But my dad always said, if you're ever in a bit of a sticky situation, he said, the mouthy bloke, he went, typically, there's nothing behind the mouth. But if you shut them up, their friends normally go away. But look out for the quiet one. Be careful and be worried about the quiet one who's just sort of around. Then they can normally be the nastiest or the sneakiest or the most dangerous. And that's always stuck with me as a life lesson. And I think that would have been a better approach from Real Madrid. Silence. Just silence in the build-up, like this is business as normal. And KJ, I'll go to you next, because you and I, over the last couple of days, got so much abuse for suggesting that Madrid were doing too much.
Yeah, I just want to say, can we just call it out for what it is? That whole week was so cringe. We want to talk about cringe for Arsenal. Real Madrid, for a club with such stature, such prestige, such gravitas, such aura, all these things, they were reduced to the cringiest social media tactics I've ever seen in my life. Say that Ronaldo is going to come down from the heavens, be in the stadium and give a team talk. Oh, we're getting the lucky jumper out. Oh, we're going to close. Bruv, if this was any other club, if this was Man United, if this was Arsenal doing all this foolishness because they're 3-0 down in a UCL game, we'll be getting cooked. Because it's Real Madrid, they're the one team that can do it. You know what? They should be doing this. No, shut up. If you're on job, be quiet. Do your thing in silence, and then show everyone afterwards about all the things you did to get to that point. You know, because the last few times we've seen Real Madrid do comebacks, I never saw this. I never saw remontada everywhere. I never saw these magic bosses come out on social media. I just saw these guys head down, focused. We're gonna work hard. We're gonna try our best. We believe. That's what they did, and then they got their comebacks. But yeah, this notion that this comeback was happening, the fact that everyone was saying it, that's when I knew it's not happening. That's when I knew it's just not happening, because everyone was banking on this comeback, and there was no logic behind the reason why they're coming back. It was crazy.
What? They almost got me though. When Carlo had the one-on-one interview with each player for 10 minutes, that's when I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?"
The thing is, though,
you know that they're not good at it because they rarely have to actually do it. So this is like the first time they've had to do like social media. Like
no, David, he didn't have to do anything. This is the point.
I know, KJ, I agree. But the thing is, it was like they've never done it before, and that's what made it so bad. Like genuinely, it's mental. A club legend or someone involved in their club actually, like, he's lost his life, right? And all their fans are like, "Oh, he's a sacrifice. We're gonna win." What's going on? Because I have seen it. I have seen it. Like, it's not like I'm not saying it's what they're doing is right, but I'm saying it was so like they didn't know what to do. And they were doing stupid things.
You're spot on. But you had Rodrigo's dad, right, and some of the players' wife, right. They were posting posts at like 4 a.m. One of them was Rodrigo's dad was outside the stadium saying the power of prayer. The other one was his wife saying, but she basically said something along the lines of, we're with you as you go into battle. It was like they were sending the team off to legitimate war.
There was a photo of like Carlo Ancelotti waving to his kids yesterday, and you were hyping it up like he was a general. For the fucking World War II.
I know a sports fan, and even someone in the Colosseum. You know, as David, you play American football at a decent level. I compete at a high level. You use words like, "I'm going to war, we're going to battle." And for fighters, there's an element of truth because you are getting punched in the head and kicking back. But it was the way they made it look like it was 1941 and a bunch of youngsters are being sent on the trains to go and fight on the front line in France to stop the Germans from coming. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Sorry. You know what as well? I also think that if it wasn't Arsenal and if it was Inter Milan who beat them 3-0, I don't think this happens.
Arsenal broke them.
I genuinely believe that because it was Arsenal, this club that no one respects in Europe, this club that's got this cringy fan base, which actually fair is true, but they've got this cringy fan base, this mouthy online fan base that talk too much. They generally thought, you know what? Easy. We can come back against these. Like, these guys crumble all the time. Their fan base is wet. All these different things. If this was Man City, they are not coming out with these foolishness that they're doing now because they'll be serious.
You know something? They have a better chance versus Man City. Better chance, but not Inter and Arsenal. Defensively, they underestimated us even in the second leg.
Well, City, we all know City haven't been a very good team this year, both Champions League and in the Premier League, and I know where they got of them. But viewers, we'd love to get your take on that. I want to speak a bit more about a couple of the Arsenal players in a moment. I've got a few super chats first before we jump into that. From Wayne, he says, "You all laughed at Arsenal. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now. We said we'd rather Real Madrid than Atletico Madrid. We were delusional." Now, Arsenal fans that said that were spot on. I can't believe we want to get rid of Partey. Great team player, but he was the platform we built our performances on. We need to extend him. Do you know what I would say to that very quickly, Duplessis? I get that feeling. This season has been a very good campaign, injury-free for him as well. One thing I would say is tread with a little bit of trepidation because It might be. Look, remember Van Persie, injuries for years. And then he had 2 back-to-back seasons for Arsenal and Man United with no injuries. And then afterwards, injuries crept in again. So I'd be a little mindful of that. Remontada, more like Raymond Noodles. They did mess up, I thought, Arsenal yesterday because they wrote Raymond Tatar when I thought it should have been Raymond Nana. Whatever. Yeah, no, I thought that was a better one. AFTV sneaking Julian back and turning off the comments. Look, it's AFTV's platform. They're free to do what they want. Julian got cooked. He got called out, and rightfully so. If they're having him back on, that's their choice. Thank you for the super chat, bro. How about Partey? 100% pass completed away at Real Madrid. That's amazing.
That yellow card he got though, he shouldn't. He's now missing that first leg against PSG. That was such an avoidable yellow card.
He didn't have to get involved. I don't know why man decided to be up in there in my man's face. Like, just
I think people forget, don't they? I think players forget in the moment. The thing is, Rudiger shouldn't have been on the pitch. Rudiger should have been sent off last night. He committed a yellow card offence very early. He stamped on Lewis Skelly. And I know, listen, you've all played football A level of some sorts. You know that's a stamp. We all know it's a stamp. And do you know how I know it's a stamp? I've got a dog and children. And there's loads of times each day where I nearly tread on the little fuckers. But you get out of the way. You get out of the way. Your foot don't go down with that kind of pattern. You look at the muscles on his leg when his foot goes down. He was pushing down. He shouldn't have even been on the pitch. So I do get why Partey.
Dark arts, Terry. Dark arts.
I was saying, Terry. I think you're doing a bit much there.
Nah, that's you're backing your boy, innit? You're backing your ex-Chelsea boy. I get it.
But they were rattled, so they were trying their best to get Declan Rice sent off. They were trying their best to get all our players.
Yeah. Oh, have we called out Mbappé for that disgrace of
the
a
dive?
dive?
The dive.
Oh.
We'll come to that in a minute. Because I've got a structure. I want to stick to the structure, right? Declan Rice. We saw it in the montage in the intro. And I don't know the name of the gentleman that was on Filthy Fellas. I don't know which person.
He's a Spurs fan.
Okay, sorry. What was that, David?
His name's Scorcher.
Scorcher, there we go. I also love the way I generally love the way he talks. And do you want to know why I love the way he talks? 1 minute it's proper London, and then like old school, and then there was like sort of younger like slang. It was just such an interesting way. I've not seen him on there before. I don't watch a lot of Filthy Fellas. I watch some of it, but he was sort of calling out Rice. But he wasn't the only person in the world. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in the fan channel community have said similar about Declan Rice, including you, David, the whole Euros tournament. Has Declan Rice's, I'm going to go to Henry first on this. Has Declan Rice's performances over these 2 legs shut that kind of conversation down now as to whether he is or isn't a top class, £100 million leading midfield player in Europe? Has that all now been put to bed? We can stop debating it.
Oh, 1,000,000%, 100%. His performance in the first leg to put the team on his back. The first free kick was unbelievable. To then follow it up with one of the best free kicks you'll see for many, many years in the Champions League quarterfinals against Real Madrid, and then to go to the Bernabeu they were under pressure a lot of the time to win every header, every duel, starting the counter-attacks, breaking up play. On current form, he's one of the best central midfielders in the world. There's maybe a couple, one better right now. I mean, everyone talking about his £100 million price tag. I don't really think we should be talking about that price tag because he's worth every penny. He's one of the first names on the England sheet. He's one of the first names on the Arsenal sheet, and he's proved that he can step up in the biggest games. You know, I don't really understand why I get what that guy was saying on that podcast. You know, but he's just shut him up. Let's just be real. He's just shut every single person up. The first performance was unreal, but from a defensive standpoint, in the fact that Arsenal were under the cosh for defending as a unit, defending as a team, set up to counter-attack, he showed both parts of his game. Like, let's be real right now. How many central midfielders on current form would you take over Declan Rice right now?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Some people might say Barrea from Inter Milan. Some people may say one of the boys from Barca, but that is it. Like Jude Bellingham, £100 million. You know, Camavinga, he's probably worth a huge amount. Zubimendi, he bought Luka Modric at 39. All the accolades he's got, he bossed everyone from a defensive standpoint. From his free kicks, deliveries, he was absolutely unreal. Like, if anyone still doesn't rate this guy, then you simply have an agenda. I'll be honest.
Here's what I say that he hasn't shut them up yet. I personally, for me, I think it should. Let me just get it out there first. I think anyone questioning the guy should stop and allow my man to keep cooking because he's a quality footballer. But I think for quite a few people, and it's not just him, this is a lot of those Arsenal players, until they lift something big, they will not get the respect that they deserve. And to be fair, I understand, because on this channel, we talk about the performances leading up to winning the big trophies, and if you're performing in these big moments but yet failing each time to get over the line, there is a cap to how far I believe you can be rated in that sense. So I don't think he should be judged as the way that he has been. I think he's been harshly judged over the last few years, but for it to be cemented where people don't question, Arsenal needs
let me question you on that, because I hear you, but I want to get some more information out of it. I get if we're comparing him to Lampard, Scholes, Carrick, Gerrard, to name a few, Kante, Toure, etc. These guys had games, not all of them. Kante did actually against Madrid, doing back-to-back man of the matches against Real Madrid. Most haven't done that, to be fair, but obviously those guys have all led their teams to Champions Leagues, some of them Premier Leagues, FA Cups, etc., etc. So I don't think anyone's comparing Declan Rice to those legends. And you are right, to get into their club, he's got to lift those trophies, be integral in lifting those trophies. But when you're talking contemporary, when it comes to the debates about who's better between, for instance, him and Caicedo as an example, how do you feel about those conversations? We know aesthetically, that's another debate. If someone likes the way one plays versus the other, it's almost a pointless debate. It is what it is. But in terms of Declan Rice, the delivery, the output, the performances in the big games, is he left his current contemporaries in the Premier League by and large behind and joined others?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think he's in that top tier bracket where, as much as someone like Caicedo is a top talent, we haven't seen him in this stage at all. We haven't seen him play against a Real Madrid. We haven't seen him play against the best teams in the world and carry Chelsea to the next round of a cup. We need to really stop having these debates, especially with Chelsea players, because I know Chelsea fans love to say that their squad is the second best or the best in the league, but yet the sixth. Declan Rice is proved that you don't need to be silky. You don't need to look the greatest. You don't need to always do the forward pass or the either needle pass. That if you are as efficient in every single thing you do, whether it be defending, whether it be shooting, whether it be tackling, whether it be passing, as long as you're efficient and you do it consistently, that is what it takes to be called a top level player.
What do you say?
And the fact that he's got the mentality to do it as well.
Yeah. What do you say to this, David? I know you're not the biggest fan of his, and I know that maybe the way he plays, the way he looks on the pitch, you'll never like. But I also know you've got a proper brain, and you can be objective. Objectively speaking, seeing him deliver like he's done in those two games, as with all the other body of work he's got, is it about time people at the very least just respect him as being a top quality midfielder, or are you still not convinced personally?
As a member of the burnt rice community, I have to be quiet, but my opinion hasn't changed. Just because I've seen players have 2 good games against very good teams, but that doesn't change my overall opinion, because I felt like I have been lied to. Because last season I didn't watch him in depth. Then I watched the Euros and I said, "Who's this guy that everyone's been chatting about?" And then this year I've watched him, and there's been a lot of times when I've been like, this guy leaves a lot of wanting. Now, the Real Madrid games, fair play to him because he balled out. And I'm not salty about it. If the guy plays well, the guy plays well. Those free kicks, unbelievable. The performance yesterday was very good. It was very good. However, do I see Declan Rice whipping in 2 free kicks in the top bins regularly? No, I don't. If he puts in the level of performance yesterday, which I believe is much more likely to happen again and again, then then I can say my hand up. I was wrong.
This is
Caicedo ahead of him.
I think there's
no. I don't think. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. As a player, I think Caicedo is better. However, in terms of what they've done in their careers so far, Rice is ahead of him.
What is Caicedo better than Rice at?
This is why
I think defensively he's better. I think passing.
No, he's not.
Okay, when you say defensively, actually break it down.
Guys, let me jump in. Let David explain it and then challenge him, because if we all jump in, the audience can't hear what's being said. So finish what you think he's better at, and then I'll hand it out to you guys to debate it, just so we can keep a little bit of order. Sorry.
I personally think that Caicedo's tackling, Caicedo's, I want to say, I would like to say also his interceptions are probably slightly better, but I think they're about the same. But obviously you can literally fact check that. You can fact check that. I also think that Caicedo is a much more intelligent footballer. But how you measure that, I'm not quite sure. But in their careers so far, of course, Rice is better than Caicedo. I can think a player is better, but their career is better overall. Like the other player's career is better overall. I just think that Caicedo, if he was in that Arsenal team, would be better than Rice is right now. That's my opinion. But
I'll go to Egal next, and then I'll go to you, Henry. What are you saying, Egal?
Personally, I'm looking at Declan Rice as a better signing. I'm saying versatility-wise, he's able to play the 6, he's able to play the 8, he's played as a high level. Now, I get it. If you want to just say pure destroyer, pure defensive numbers and statistics, maybe Caicedo's defensive numbers are better, but he's also playing in a Chelsea team where you're going to get more defensive actions and you're going to be defending a lot more because of the way your team plays. I think Declan Rice has been a bargain, and what makes him better for me than Caicedo is capability to not only show the highest level in the final third. Also, I haven't seen that from Caicedo. I've never seen Caicedo get involved in the final third as much as I've seen Declan Rice. I've seen Declan Rice for West Ham and Arsenal carry the ball from distance, get and drive into the box and either set up an assist or score. We've seen it in the lead up to West Ham winning their trophy, and we've seen it just this past weekend for Arsenal in the game versus Brentford. I've never seen Caicedo do that, not dribble, but carry the ball from distance and do that. There is attributes that Declan Rice has that Caicedo has never shown, but I think majority of the things that Caicedo can do, Declan Rice can do. And I think the only difference that people look at is aesthetics. Caicedo might be a little bit more better aesthetically looking at him on the ball. He's a little bit more press resistance, but I think Declan Rice is the better all-around player. And what is it? 1 year difference in age? And you can see already how much more he's accomplished in his career.
Yeah, I think Egal's pretty much spot on. I think Declan Rice has also got one thing that Caicedo doesn't, and that's leadership. Like he's a captain without an armband on. Like he's the one that's orchestrating that, breaking out from the back lines and playing it out wide. I think his final third passing's miles better than Caicedo's. I think he's turned up in a lot of the bigger moments in his career so far. I know people like to shit on the Conference League, but he has won that. And was very, very good against Fiorentina in the final. If Chelsea do that, Caicedo does that in the final.
Very quick, yeah, but very quickly as well. I know West Ham fans won't like this. I still think there's a difference between that West Ham team and even this Chelsea team. Because if you go back to what that West Ham team was and who they have in their team, how many of those players legitimately would Chelsea fans want to put into that Chelsea team now?
Not many.
Barring Bowen, how many of those was he playing for them in that Conference League? I don't think he was there.
No, they had Paqueta.
And that's not a dig, but that's West Ham or not Chelsea's level. So West Ham winning the Conference League is a much bigger achievement than Chelsea winning it, if you get where I'm coming from. But
Chelsea
sorry, back to you.
win it. Like if they go on and win it and Caicedo bosses out in the Conference League and gets man of the match, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But if he does play and they don't win it, then there's an argument. I think Caicedo defensively probably has the edge on Declan Rice, but he doesn't have a Declan Rice package to play both roles.
Can we be honest?
Can I just say, because I've literally just gone and looked up their numbers. Moises Caicedo averages 3 tackles, 1.2 interceptions, and 1.5 blocks. Declan Rice averages 1.8 tackles, 0.9 blocks, and
he's also playing in a team where
wait. And passing wise, Moises Caicedo has more passes completed and a higher completion rate. However, Declan Rice in the final third is better than him, and his progressive carries are much higher. So my eye test of what I believe is true, I believe the numbers back up as well.
Yeah, he's a better all-around defensive-minded midfielder, but he can't play both roles. Declan Rice can play the 6 for Arsenal very, very well, and the 8.
I don't think he's that good as an 8 personally.
You know something? I've been hearing this a lot.
Right.
I think it's actually I think he's actually so good and changed so much since he's come to Arsenal and shown what he's capable of doing as an 8. That's why we're looking to go buy a 6, because Declan Rice, what he lacks in the passing and the press resistance, as people say, he's more suited to play as an 8 for us in the way that we play, and his ability to carry the ball and drive from deep is something that Martin Odegaard doesn't have in his game. So it suits us better when he plays as an 8.
Yeah, to an extent, I agree. If Zubimendi's the DM you're getting, then I don't think that's the DM that unlocks Declan Rice, because I think Rice has shone this season because he's had Partey behind him who is a bit more of a destroyer. So if the ball gets past Rice, he's got someone there who's going to win the duel, win it back straight away, and not someone who wants to be on the ball and dictating the tempo. So Rice almost effectively becomes the guy progressing the ball every time. Whereas if you get a Zubimendi, and this is a guy who wants to be on the ball, he wants to be dictating the tempo, he wants to be spraying these passes everywhere, but he's not the guy who, in counter-attacks, is going to be barging people off the ball, covering ground, winning the ball back in that way. That would almost relegate Rice to that role, which I feel, if you want to play Rice in the 8, which I'm not wholly against, you need a guy like a Partey behind him. If you want to play him in a pivot, that's where you get a Zubimendi.
Tom, unfortunately, we don't know what Arteta's going to do because he's a tactical genius. And when you see something based on just strictly looking at based on what that player does at another club, it might not translate to Arsenal, because he's had so many players.
He might try to
Arsenal. He's had so many. Let me finish. He's had so many players come into Arsenal, and you think they're going to do similar to what they've done at their previous clubs, but he has them playing a completely different way, a completely different style of football, and he has them doing things they've never done in their career. For example, just look at he's turned Timber into 1v1 demon. We've had Mikel Moreno playing as a striker.
Timber from a right back to a right back.
We've had Mikel Moreno playing as a false 9 since the beginning of February, and he's
not by choice, really. It's not like he went there and went, you know what, my main plan with Mikel Moreno is to turn him into a false 9. My point is, Egal, I understand that you can.
No, but sometimes
if a player has the attributes, if a player has the attributes, you can help them adapt. But Zubimendi doesn't have the attributes to play the role.
No, but you know what Zubimendi can have? And I've seen it from players like Xhaka and Jorginho. They can have the positional awareness to be able to win the ball back, even without the pace or the necessary, athleticism that you'd need in that position.
You'd be worse off with Jorginho, though, wouldn't you? You would be worse off if you had Jorginho there rather than.
No, I think he's an upgrade.
Jorginho was in the past.
I think he's an upgrade on Jorginho, Zubimendi. As for Partey, he's not a like for Partey. Don't think for a second he's a like for like.
No, I know that, but I'm saying you guys would play worse if it was Jorginho rather than Thomas Partey, and Declan Rice would probably play worse.
If this was Jorginho from 4 years ago, we would play better than what we're currently playing.
That wasn't my question.
I know, but I'm saying Zubimendi would be a younger version of Jorginho, basically. That's what I'm saying.
Viewers. Go on very quickly because they've got a lot to get through.
Real quick. This is why I love Egal. Do you see that little slip in that he did in there? That's a genius. And hey, listen, respect it.
I think people underestimate Arteta's impact in being able to change players and get them to acclimatize so quickly. Look at Ancelotti. He's had the whole year with these guys, and he hasn't been able to drill them or get them coached in a manner where they're dangerous over 90 minutes.
With his balance, yeah.
Best believe if Arteta had that Real Madrid team, they would have beaten us over those 2 legs quite easily.
It's a fair bit of analysis. We've got a few super chats here. This year says Caicedo better technically is a myth. I just imagined Caicedo trying to score those free kicks. Do you know what I would say, Marcelo? The problem is when you say technically, everyone will go technical ability. Get 10 people to detail what they consider technical ability to be. Because for some people, it's actually the aesthetics of how it looks as opposed to the actual technique as an example. Some people think about it about their touch and their passing. Some people think about ability as your ability to dribble with the ball and beat a person. Some people think it's a mixture of things. And it's really important to ask what people mean by better tactically, not the buzzword, not the phrase, but their understanding. You remember me and Lee Gunner had a long debate on a show once because I consider like being a good goal scorer and being a good finisher. I see it as pretty much one of the same thing. I don't think you can be a good finisher if you're not finishing lots of your chances. Equally, I don't think you'd be a good goal scorer unless you score a lot of goals. But he saw it differently, and he viewed finishing more as sort of how beautiful the goal is and how great the finish is. Where I look at someone who's good at finishing who just scores lots of goals, which he isn't wrong and I'm not wrong or right. It's just a different interpretation. And sometimes when you're having these debates, you should focus on your interpretation more so than what you're saying, because then maybe you'd actually agree. You might actually find both of you agree on your view of Rice and Caicedo, but you're using the same word to describe the player and you're at loggerheads.
Also, how long does it take for Caicedo and Chelsea's team to not look that much better before we start saying, you know what, judge the player? Because West Ham, Declan Rice was carrying that team. Caicedo might be carrying Chelsea, but to where?
Well, Caicedo was very, very good at Brighton, though. So we can't forget that he was amazing.
Declan Rice was very good at West Ham. So
Declan Rice had West Ham competing for top four.
But that's it. What Egal's saying is, if Chelsea remain where they are now, when do you look at the player not being good enough? It's a fair argument, but I think Chelsea have got more problems. I'd
argue Caicedo is performing in spite of what is going on.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he is delivering.
I think great midfielders raise the quality of the whole team around them.
But great Egal, how is it Caicedo's fault Chelsea don't score goals?
No, I'm not saying it's his fault that they don't score goals.
So then I can't be holding him accountable for Chelsea's problems.
Because Chelsea do get cut through a lot. And if he's this great defensive midfielder, there's a lot of games where I see Chelsea get cut through. And Caicedo is part of that team.
Egal, though, but we all know, listen, I'm
not running an agenda here. I'm being fair.
I understand where you're from, but where I think you're wrong on a footballing level is when Ten Hag was running Ten Hag's Island in the middle of Man United's midfield, it didn't matter which central midfielder played in there. They just got exposed. And everybody went through a period of saying they've all lost their legs. They've all got old. Then Mainu started getting exposed in that position. Everyone's like, oh, maybe it's not the age and the legs. It was partly the system. So, look, I think Caicedo as an individual was delivering for Chelsea. There's no doubt about it. Where I think Rice is pulling ahead of him, I don't even care about the technical ability side and preference of a player and the aesthetics. For me, it comes down to games like this week, performances and getting your team in title races and staying there as an example. Both have still got a long way to go until they move into that echelon of greats. They've got the ability to both be in the great category. But in terms of those two as a head-to-head kind of debate, what Rice just did in the last couple of days, it pulls him clear of him right now. But Caicedo's got a long time to go to pull it back. Let me get through these super chats. I want to speak about Saka before we get, because we are going to debate who's winning the Champions League later. I want to talk about Van Dijk's new deal, Klopp going to Madrid, and a few other bits and pieces. Ancelotti yesterday proved Arteta right and fans wrong for wanting fantasy players over balance. Arsenal don't need a striker, but they need fluid forwards. What was interesting is Arsenal run, I think, something like 12 to 13 kilometers more in the first leg and about 8 kilometers more in the second. But primarily that was because Vinicius and Mbappé don't track back. That discrepancy was two players not tracking back and not pressing for the team and stuff. And that does make a big difference. This here says Rice three times as much as McAllister, depending on how you see a bargain. Didn't McAllister have a buyout clause?
He did.
Yeah, 35
So
million.
I always feel like flexing a buyout clause price versus a normal transfer price a little bit of a shallow argument, because it's a buyout clause. You're not. I remember Chelsea fan. Oh, look how cheap we got Kante for. Well, he had a buyout clause. You didn't do anything. You did very well to convince him to come to you, but you didn't do anything to make the price so low. So I wouldn't consider that a flex. Because if McAllister didn't have that buyout clause, Brighton are charging between 80 and 100 million for him as well, like 110%, especially after winning the World Cup. So that would have definitely
McAllister's
happened.
better though.
It's a fair chat. McAllister's been excellent, and he has led a midfield charge. He's been brilliant in the central areas, leading a team to a Premier League title. So, we can't be sitting there going on about Rice's last two performances and then ignore how McAllister has helped a team win a Premier League. You can't ignore that. I would also be a hypocrite because I put Gerrard lower down the Premier League legacy table because he didn't do what McAllister had done this season. So I stand on my opinion. In the 8, Rice will be compared to, who is SG? Steven Gerrard,
Gerrard, Lampard,
and Scholes. The thing with Scholes is Scholes did play 8, but Scholes, a lot of his career was a lot deeper as well. So again, I don't even compare. Scholes played a different role for a long time compared to Lampard and Gerrard, which a lot of people like to forget. The best DM in the league saw his side go 2-0 down at home to Ipswich. If Rice is in midfield, everyone's asking questions of him and demanding more. Is what Rob Ladd says.
Comment. Good comment.
It's a good comment. There was another player in the build-up to the first leg where they asked Bukayo Saka whether or not he thinks he's on the same level as Vinicius and Mbappe. Did he prove, Tom, over these 2 legs that he is at that level as a player?
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because I don't think he was as good as he could be because I still don't think he's 100% fit. So I was seeing like a 70% Saka, and he was still the best attacker out of both teams. Now, what's that say about Madrid's attackers? That's a different conversation. But Saka turned up. He won both free kicks, for which led to both goals in the first leg. Don't know what he's trying with the pen, to be honest, but you know he made up for it with the goal, and he was always a constant danger. He's very, very. The big thing I can praise him for. He makes the right decisions pretty much every time. He makes the right decisions every time he's in and around the box. Or every time Arsenal on the counter-attack, he plays the right pass. He plays to the right teammate. He makes the right decision. He's certainly, you know, I've got him in the top 3 wingers in the world for me. You know, I think he's right up there with Rafinha and Salah this season, but the injury probably limits him a little bit in that sense. But I think he's incredible. He's so mature for his age. So mature for his age. Doesn't let anything faze him. He's been very important to that Arsenal team this season when he's.
Did you say top 3 when you're in the world?
Yeah, he's there. Like right wingers because Rafinha. Right. I've got Salah number 1. I've got Rafinha number 2. I've got
Rafinha is playing on the left this season.
What about Yamal?
Yamal, it's. I don't feel comfortable putting a 17-year-old in best in the world.
His age is irrelevant.
What are you doing? That, bro. What is he doing in the world football right now? What is he doing? He's cooking everyone.
Bro. Both internationally and for club.
Don't be like that.
He's still, yeah, but I still think there's an element of rawness with Yamal, which
what's wrong with that? If the rawness is killing people, it's killing people, bro.
He may win Ballon d'Or.
It's an element of inconsistency. It's an element of inconsistency, which is fine. I don't think I'm putting him in that conversation yet. I need another year or 2 of it, and then he's right in there because I went putting Saka. I think Saka's been showing this level for 2-3 seasons, but I wasn't putting him in after 1 year of it.
Yeah, but what was his first breakout year like this?
Yeah, I'm saying. Put his numbers against most right
wingers. Barcelona could win the treble.
Bukayo Saka had 12 assists from left back as an 18-year-old.
No, in his first.
This guy's nearly got 50 GAs at 17.
In all competitions, he had 12 assists from left back.
He's nearly got what? Sorry,
he's nearly gone 50 career GA at 17.
Okay, I'm seeing him.
Are we judging based on stats only?
Sorry.
Are we judging based on stats only or performances?
No, I'm talking big moments. Like the guys are joking.
I will say this. From literally like December until April, Saka didn't score or assist a single goal. So
yeah, he wasn't playing. Look, I think one thing we need to finally do is there's this stigma that Arsenal fans overhype players a lot, and we do. Fair play. But Bukayo Saka is one guy who's deserving of the hype, and a lot of people have been reluctant to crown him as world class. A lot of people have been reluctant to say he's better than Phil Foden or better than this guy, better than that guy. I just want people to put those conversations to bed because every time you put a player in front of him or that you compare him to, he shows that he's better than that player throughout either a year campaign or a 2-legged tie versus that player's team.
He's not world class.
I generally believe Bukayo Saka is a world-class player, and he is not only amongst the best in his position, he's amongst one of the best attackers in the world. I think showing against Vinicius Jr., Mbappé, Rodrigo, Jude Bellingham versus this Real Madrid team with all these superstars and him being the most threatening attacker on the pitch is the definition of world class for me. Being amongst the best in the world and showing them consistently in the World Cup, in the Euros, for Arsenal in the Premier League, for Arsenal in the Champions League. You guys said he needs to do it in the big stage. He's doing it in the big stage. What more does he need to do? It's almost like that Kobe Bryant commercial with Kanye. What more records does he have to break before you guys say, you know what, he's this guy that we say he is?
All I'm saying, Egal, while I believe the talent is world class, you can't be world class with no trophies.
What about Harry Kane?
That is my world class talent.
He's about to win the league, isn't he, Harry Kane?
He's about to win the Bundesliga, to be fair.
Other than like him, who else turned up for them in the Champions League this season? Him and Elise. That was it.
Yeah, no. But I don't think
Eric Dyer turned up.
I don't think you can be world. I don't think you can. I just don't think you can be. I just don't think you can be world class with no trophy. I think the talent is world class, but to truly be world class, you've got to win a big trophy.
So if he wins the Champions League with Arsenal, he's world class now.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I think
I said the same thing with Son as well. When Son was performing at a really high level, I said the guy's not world class. He's not won anything.
Asian games, bro.
David has been consistent with this in his opinion across all things. I feel like, look, I think Saka's been playing. I think Saka's been performing at a world class level for a number of years. And what you'll find with Saka, and we spoke about Rice a little bit earlier, this will happen. The next time Rice has an average game, which will happen, because remember, Ronaldo and Messi broke the barometer for just being so consistent. But he'll have an average game, and it'll be, see, Don will be in the group chat straight away. See, I told you about this man. David will be there from the burnt rice community. I told you. And you're going to get that with the two of them. But I feel when people are that desperate to jump online after one bad game to say, I told you so, I think it's typically a sign of their insecurities that they probably know their opinion's wrong by now. And I think Saka's been performing at that level. However, I think if him and Rice keep playing to a similar level in the semi-finals and then in the final of the Champions League and they go on to win it, it puts the conversation to bed. And I think keep playing like this and win the trophy. Yeah, nobody can then question it. Nobody can deny it. And again, it's a bit like Arsenal winning the Champions League, because now we're going to get into that debate a bit later. The part of me that would like to see Arsenal do it, the same as I'd like to see Saka score in every one of the remaining games and win, Rice stay good, is it would just end some really long debates that seem to want to go on forever. I'd just like it over for people to say, yeah, Rice is anything between top quality, top class to world class. Arteta is a top manager. It'd be nice just to put some of them debates to bed so we can move on to other conversations, because I always find, not just the Football Terrace, but in the fan channel community at large, it's like a player can have a great 3 months, they have one bad game, and you're dragged back into those 5-year-old fucking debates, and it's like so jarring. But I hope it ends.
There's two things that piss me off about this whole situation. There's people who believe that if Bukayo Saka was fit in the league, that there wouldn't be a difference in what was going on. Number one. Number two, there's also people out here who believe that Bukayo Saka shouldn't even been playing. And they're like, oh, the manager shouldn't be playing him. They're clearly rushing him back as if they know better than the doctors and everyone at Arsenal. And he clearly shows that the doctors and everybody at Arsenal were protecting him, and they did wait until he was fully ready to bring him back. So all you Standards FC people who wanted Arteta sacked to the point where you want to sabotage the team and have Bukayo Saka not playing, you're sick.
I think the people that were moaning that Saka was coming back, I still believe the majority of them, the bulk of them, their reason for not wanting Saka to return is they knew that what just happened could happen. And maybe you don't win this tie if Saka's out, because he was a real driving force in everything you did. So yeah, there was definitely an element of, fuck, he's back. He might actually help him win. Saka's already won the FA Cup. So
Wigan won the FA Cup. But
it's not even that day. KJ. He didn't really play in many of the games leading up to it, did he? Did he play in the final? Did he play what I mean? But when it comes to winning trophies, Dio, I get called out from both directions for this. It's not about having a medal; it's about how influential an individual was in getting you to that final and helping you win that trophy. That's my view. I think because Jonathan Greening won a Champions League, no one looks at him as a Champions League player as an example. So I think I don't remember. I'm not an Arsenal fan. How much impact he had in winning the FA Cup?
Saka didn't play in the final.
Hazard's got a Champions League winners medal, but he did nothing that season to help them win the Champions League. So
Sturridge has got a Champions League medal.
Yeah,
He's got two actually.
He's got two. Yeah. I hear you. All right, let's jump into something.
Saka didn't play in the FA Cup
I want
final.
to move on to a couple other subjects before we come back to who's winning the Champions League. So stay with us for that debate, ladies and gentlemen.
Saka never played in the final.
Saka just behind Salah. Saka just behind Salah is unreal. It's just pity the team not the same. They have been poor in general this year domestically. That's a good point. Saka has a better legacy than Rooney in Europe. It's not true.
That's not true. Rooney won Champions Leagues. What are we talking about?
Saka's got a very good output ratio for the 15 games that he's played in it so far. But Wayne Rooney, the man who scored a hat-trick on his United debut in a European game, the man who scored goals in Champions League finals, Champions League semi-finals, Champions League quarterfinals. This man has delivered. I think that's a big stretch for you to say that at this point, my friend. At this point, maybe one. You could argue he's got a better one than Hazard, maybe, because Hazard doesn't really have a great legacy in Europe, in Champions League. But Wayne Rooney is too much of a stretch, my friend. That's not on at all. Letitia was world class. He didn't win. Well, I don't consider him world class. Ability, yes, but he didn't get challenged at the very highest level, so I disagree with it. So Harry Kane isn't world class and never has been. A lot of Spurs fans, KJ remember. Do you remember when a lot of the Spurs fans were on during lockdown? Most of them, Eleanor, who were the Spurs fans? Patty. We had loads of Spurs fans on back then. None of them wanted him to be called world class. They were like, no, until he does it in a final, until he delivers us something, I don't think he's world class. They said the same about Son. So a lot of Spurs fans have also said that. Egal also thinks Saka is better than Hazard at 24. Do you?
No, I never said that. All I said was he gets treated like him by defenders the way that he gets beat up on the pitch.
That makes sense. Yeah. Gal crazy. Thank you, Wayne. To be honest, we say a lot of battles for sports here in the US. No, we use the word, but it's not literally battle, but I get you. It's all vain unless you are lifting the pot. No, I don't think it is all in vain. I don't think it is all in vain, personally.
That way of treating football now is horrendous. You can't enjoy the journey if you don't win anything at the end of it. So
Yeah,
there's no point in watching anything. There's no point in watching any of the games or reacting to anything because you just need to wait for the numbers at the end of the season.
And Man City are a great example. Look how long it took them from always going out in group stages to then going out early knockouts, got to a semi, then they regressed a bit, then they got to a final. It took them years to build up the understanding as a club, as players, the fans, everybody as a collective to get to that point where they could win a Champions League. So
everybody.
Yeah, man, most clubs a lot of clubs have gone through that. So I don't agree. Gal, you said hype, Salah is world-class, trophies and records are vindication. It's up to him to put himself to the true top level. It's all of them. So I hope you agree with me when I say that about Gerrard. Gerrard should have left Liverpool and gone to a club that maybe could have won the league. It's I do agree with that notion though. People always go, players can't help what club they're at. I think they fucking can if they're really good. Like really good players are wanted by everybody. If you choose to stay at a club that is like Harry Kane staying at Spurs, I've had zero sympathy. We are not. It's not like he's It's not like he's from San Marino. He's never winning a World Cup, right? It's not like he has a choice about his nationality. So yeah, that's all crazy.
I think the notion of a player being one of the best at his position but not being able to win a trophy needs to become a little bit understandable because sometimes you might not be in the best situation until.
Wait, hang on a second. Wait. Let's spin the block on that quickly. Because why was that not afforded to Caicedo when you were judging him then?
No, I was judging Caicedo based on being able to lift the team. I'm not saying he's not a bad player. I'm just saying, why can't he lift a team? When I'm talking about world class and when I'm talking about judging a player's individual ability, that's what I'm talking about.
But why can't that player raise his team from being not able to win a trophy to winning a trophy if he's world class?
Because sometimes your team might not be ready.
Then leave.
But Caicedo, maybe Chelsea not ready for Caicedo.
look, for example, I personally think Harry Kane was world class before he ever won a trophy or is about to win a trophy. But Bukayo Saka, the reason why I say he's world class is because I rank world class based on where you rank in the world amongst your peers in your similar position. Erling Haaland, in my opinion, was world class before he won anything.
I get your point, but then he moved to a club where he could win things. The point is, let's just take Saka as an example. Let's say you go out in the semi-finals, and then you guys start to regress over the next year or two, and then you're back to fighting for top 4, top 6 and stuff. If Saka then signs a new 6-year deal and stays at Arsenal the rest of his career, if he then goes on to win nothing, Saka is accountable because he could get out. Because let's be honest, if Saka turned around today and said, I don't want to stay at Arsenal anymore, pretty much every single team in the world would buy him. So we are splitting hairs here, and we're looking at world-class talent. I understand that Chris Blunt didn't have the options that Bukayo Saka has to move in the game. But these players that we are nitpicking between who the best of the best are, who the world class are, they all have so many options. They can all move practically whenever they want, as long as they don't have a long contract. Look, guys,
let me give you an example.
You've got less than a minute because we have got 40 minutes to get through 2 more subjects. Okay, cool. Because I'm moving a little bit like Patrick Bet-Davis when I say that. I watch his podcast a lot, and he does that a lot. He goes, "You got 30 seconds because we got to move on." We're going to come back to the Champions League debate in a few moments, but Liverpool today have announced the 2-year extension of the contract of Virgil van Dijk. It's 2 years with no break clauses, £400,000 a week base salary to go with. I think it's almost 400 grand a week for Mo Salah, but Van Dijk stays. How chuffed are you with that, Tom?
Very happy. The 2 most important pieces are staying at the football club for the next 2 years. That was the most important thing that we had to get done. Again, don't like that it carried on throughout the whole season, but the players dealt with it the correct way. He's showing no signs of slowing down. He's still the best centre back on the planet for me. I'm happy that we kept him tied down, and I think that's a big statement not only for the players within the club who have, contract renewals due soon, a sign of intent that we want to stay at the top level and we're not trying to blow it up and do another 5-year process. And I think it's also a statement of intent for players that we could be potentially trying to sign this summer, in that we are serious. We're not here to just try and get top 4 and build up for the title challenge once every 5 years like we used to do. We're here to be there every single season. The fact that we're paying them the money that we're paying them for the time period that we've got them, that makes me think that there's something in the works in terms of the series for the next 2 years. They're trying to maximise the short-term possibility for these players in a certain way, because you're not signing Mohamed Salah and Van Dijk on 800 grand a week collectively to then sign 3 project players who will be good in 4 years' time when Salah and Van Dijk aren't here. You've got to be trying to maximise them while we got them. They can be the difference makers. They can be the X factor in getting you over the line in these trophies, as they've shown this year. Give them the right support pieces around them and go for more than one. This year it was disappointing to go out of the Champions League in the round 16. If we had the right pieces next year, we get in a striker that scores more than 6 goals, like my others have. I get in a left back who isn't washed. I get in another midfielder who's very competent on the ball. I add the right pieces. I get a right back who can properly challenge Bradley next year. We can challenge on multiple fronts, and we can. I think there's a very interesting opportunity opening up in the Premier League, because I don't think City are going to be straight back there next year. I think City are going to need a year or two to piece all their bits together. There's an opportunity there for this league, for league titles to be won for the next 2 years. And I like to think that with the way that we're doing it, with the statements of intent we put out by getting Van Dijk and Salah tied down to new deals, that we're serious about getting these over the line over the next 2-3 years.
No, certainly are. I want to throw this out. Any one of the panel can grab this one, but I've seen a few people to the news kind of comment and tweet, and I wanted to see if any of you feel this way, that giving 400 grand a week to a 33-year-old for 2 years is a big risk. Does anybody agree with that? Or when you've looked at Van Dijk this year, does it look as though he'll carry that level through for the next 2 seasons?
The only risk they will have is if they get injured because they're older. I think that's the only risk they've got. If it's just no injuries, and are you trying to say that they're gonna down tools, or they're gonna decline really rapidly, or they're gonna become unprofessional? I don't think it's gonna happen, because if that was gonna happen, it would have happened on their last renewals. Like Mo Salah got renewed like what 2-3 years ago, and everyone said back then, "Oh yeah, Salah's gonna decline now. He's gonna drop off like Aubameyang." All these things never happened. Like these two guys are two of the best professionals in the Premier League right now, and yeah, I don't see it as a massive risk. I see it as actually good planning, because if they let them both go, or was not willing to give them the money, they would have left, and they would have had to fill two massive holes in their squad in the space of 6 months. Whereas now, 2 years, you've got the timeline. 2 years, you know what's going to happen with these guys. You definitely don't want to keep them on for any longer, because they'll be like what 36 and 35 or something like that.
I don't know. I think Van Dijk could do longer than 2 years. Salah's a bit more dodgy, but I think Van Dijk could go till he's 38.
Yeah, he could, but he would then become a bit part player, and then also you're not having him on 400k a week. Like
he will be on 400k a week.
So you've got 2 years now to really plan and really start to be like, okay, how do we build this squad so when they are done in the 2 years, we can still maintain the levels that they've given us for the last 3 years. I'm very intrigued. People are trying to say that, I've had a conversation with people in group chat saying, now that they've signed these two guys, they're not going to sign many players now because they've got, look how much they've given them. Bro, Liverpool didn't really spend in the summer. They've won the Premier League, that's money. They're in the Champions League again, that's money. They're going to sell some of their players, that's more money. The amount of money that Liverpool have got for the next 2 years is crazy, in my opinion. And it'll only be on FSG if things don't continue on in the way that it is now, in terms of the team getting better and growing. So it's not a risk. It's a well-calculated, planned succession. That's what
I don't think they had a choice, Terry. I think it was a situation where they needed to pay the going market rate for what Van Dijk would be going for right now, and they left it for too late for them to try to get any discount deals or anything like that. He was now actually speaking to teams, and he knew what his value was, and he was negotiating from a position of strength. So Liverpool paying 400k is not a surprise, because if he was to go to PSG, that's probably what he would get, if I'm not mistaken.
Who was Van Dijk speaking to? What club?
If he was speaking to PSG, Barcelona, but I don't think it ever got to a stage where he was looking to leave.
Chelsea spoke to him, but again, they all said
that they all spoke to him, and then he went, "No, I want to stay at Liverpool."
Liverpool. They all said, "No."
But you also offered him the 400k, which was going to be offered to him from PSG.
Yeah, but no. But the main thing is those clubs spoke to Van Dijk, and what they got back was, "I want to stay at Liverpool."
Yeah, and he also got was knowing what the going rate is to go back to Liverpool and be like, "This is what I'm worth."
Yeah, but it's not like, for all intents and purposes, from everything I've seen, we've not given him exactly a massive pay rise, if at all. All I know is that we've not given him a pay cut.
What is it? 50k more?
Like it's really not much. He's on 400 grand a week now, I think. But the thing is, with our wages, no one. Oh, I know there's these
he's
websites
on 400k now.
Yeah,
are you sure about that?
He's on 400k a week now. Yeah. That's what his contract is now. But our contracts have always been fucking. No one knows our contracts. Everyone was saying Salah was going to get a pay cut, and then it turned out no, he's always been on this.
No, Salah, Virgil van Dijk's was 350. It's going up to 400. So it's It's only a marginal pay increase in terms of the extra money per month it's costing. The year it's costing Liverpool is not much, and there are very few centre backs in the world they could buy for the who are as good as him. They'd probably come in on less money, say 250 grand a week. But what you're going to get from them, are you getting bang for your buck? A comment here, a super chat actually from 16 out of 10. He says, John W. Henry, my owner, a great businessman, FSG in. We've gone from having Klopp and Linders managing against us to the nerds being back in charge. FSG, I am in awe. Edwards and Hughes, the best around.
He's gonna want them all gone next season when they don't win the league. That's Ryan for you.
That middle sentence is vile, by the way. Klopp was not managing against us. The whole reason we have a midfield that can win the Premier League is because he bought them all. I agree. His transfer success wasn't as good as Edwards, but he built this midfield.
Didn't he push for Nunes? That alone is...
That's the big blip on him. He really wanted Nunes, and we turned down other strikers for Nunes. But the midfield was all over.
It's going to be interesting to see how many players. It's going to be interesting to see how many players Liverpool actually bring in and what quality of players they bring in. Because if I go on Tom's Twitter, he wants the guy from Fulham and a bunch of players.
Yeah, you see, that's a joke though, because I know it annoys people. I don't really want Liverpool to sign Rodrigo Muniz. I'm happy to say it because it angers people, but I don't really want Liverpool to go into next season with Rodrigo Muniz as our striker.
Yeah, Tom, do you think your club would actually ever sign Osimhen? Because for some reason, he just gets like bypassed by Liverpool fans or Liverpool, like the speak of Liverpool involved.
Nobody seems to
it's
want
like that. Like if you've got Nunes, already and he's running ninja channels and he's doing all of that and he's combating with defenders, his only problem is he can't score. That's why he's not playing. No, just get Osimhen. Get Osimhen. He solves that. No?
Osimhen's a weird one because we liked him when he was at Lille, and then since then there's been opportunities to get him, but we've never pushed for it, and I don't know why. I mean, let's just start with this. Any striker we sign who has control of his feet is better than Darwin Núñez. The bar for improvement is not very high. But Osimhen, he's a world-class striker. He was the guy who spearheaded Napoli to a title. I don't know why teams aren't in for him. I get the feeling we're all in on Isak, which is a bit stupid because Newcastle are going to get Champions League football, and then we're not going to get him. And then after that,
I wouldn't be. Do you know what I would say about that though? Really, really, really quickly. Newcastle fans won't appreciate me saying this, but whether they get Champions League football or not, if Isak doesn't want to stay, I think you've got a chance of getting him. Because most well-run clubs do not keep players that don't want to be there. So, I know Newcastle fans won't appreciate it, but let's be objective and let's be honest. Liverpool Football Club, with the prestige they have, the players that are there, the fact they're champions of England, where Newcastle are now in their arc towards trying to get to the top, with a player being Isak's age, I wouldn't be surprised if his head was turned. I wouldn't be surprised if he might not have told anybody publicly this. It wouldn't be surprising if he grew up with a desire to play for Liverpool and now they want him. So the fact that you guys keep being linked to him, and you guys rarely leak stories about players that you are interested in, other than the players that you end up getting. So that's I've got a horrible feeling, and I kind of want Isak out of the Premier League if he ain't at my club because he's dangerous, and I'd much rather him at Newcastle than at Liverpool. So I'm not willing for this to happen. But there's just too much noise around it for a club that normally, if a story comes out within a day or two, your press goes, we're not even linked, we don't care. If it's like nonsense, if it's a lie, you guys shut it down within 24 hours and you're letting this one run. Maybe it's a bit of PR. Maybe it's a little bit of PR. But what they have said is that even if you renew the contract of these players, you're going to go big this summer. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
I mean, Van Dijk today, obviously signed the contract. In it, he said, I'm staying because the future's exciting. The business that will be done is exciting. I've been very well versed in FSG, PR, and summer transfer windows. I know all the buzzwords they use. At no point have they ever started saying the stuff that they're saying now. That's what makes me think there's something different about this window. The people in charge, they're ruthless. They want to keep us at the top. It's not to say Klopp didn't, but Klopp's way of management wasn't conducive to the ruthlessness that he needed.
Klopp was holding you back. I agree that you say when you say that. Look, Klopp, you've got it here, KJ. Get it clipped up for the channel. Tom Henry. You could be Tom Henry. Tom Little says that he's staying. Connected though to that is there's a big report this morning coming out of Spain that Jurgen Klopp has agreed in principle to become the new Real Madrid manager. Now I know Liverpool fans despise that football club for beating you in finals, taking Trent, taking McManaman, taking Michael Owen. If they take your greatest manager since Paisley, how does that make you forget Real Madrid? How does that make you feel about Klopp that said he can't manage anymore, he's too tired?
I'll be honest, I'm not really too arsed because I'm winning anyway. I've got Arne Slot and I'm winning. If I'd feel a lot more bitter about it if the guy who'd come in to replace him was shit. If I'd end up getting a manager who came in and I was finishing like 8th, 7th, I'd be a lot more bitter and a lot more angry. But I still feel a bit weird about it because everything was you were sitting there saying you were going to retire, this, that, and the other. And now first chance to go to Madrid, you're jumping at it. I mean, it's weird, but I'm not. The part that gets what's Madrid's problem with us? Anytime anything goes wrong at that football club, they take it out on my team and link themselves with one of my players, or link themselves with my former manager.
It should be a compliment, bro. It should be a compliment.
Go bully Arsenal for a bit. Go try for Saliba or Arteta. Why is it always my club?
Because you're
Canate, Trent, McAllister, Klopp. I wouldn't be shocked if they tried.
Who is better, Arsenal or Liverpool?
Obviously, it's us. But just
Exactly.
pick on someone else.
So why are they going to
someone
pick up the
else.
scraps of the dead teams when they've got you guys, bro?
Pick on someone else. Go for like a City or something then. Someone else, please. Ever since 2004, every single time something goes wrong at Madrid, my team at the flogging horse, we'll get someone from Liverpool, it'll be all right. We'll get their manager, it'll be all right. Pick on someone else for once.
You did beat them 5-0 in 2009.
Yeah,
that's fine.
You've got it back in blood how many times since?
Yeah,
leave us alone.
Got a question for you though. How is this different to Trent?
Thank you. That was literally my point.
Let me know.
Was this energy for Trent?
He sold Trent. I mean, Klopp sold you guys the dream of retiring from football at Liverpool. That he's too tired. That I don't want to go back to manage him because what I did at Liverpool was so good, and he's just zapped everything out on me. Just for him to be like, actually, 1 year out of the game, Real Madrid. I fancy some of that. How was that different? How was it different?
Jurgen Klopp was not born in West Derby. Jurgen Klopp didn't grow up a Liverpool fan. Jurgen Klopp wasn't sitting there in 2019 going, this is where I want to be for the rest of my life. I personally, I never believed it when he said that he was retiring. I always thought he'd take a break and he'd come back for one more job. Did I think it'd be Madrid? No, but I always thought he'd come back for one more job. It's obvious. It's different from Trent because Trent came through the academy, boyhood fan. Liverpool are in the best state they could be. There should be there's no competitive reason to leave us. And all he'd done throughout his entire Liverpool career was say this is where he wants to spend the rest of his career. There's no bigger club than Liverpool. He wants to captain the club. He wants to win all the trophies with the club. And then his head gets turned by Bellingham, and he sees his arse. Klopp was never saying that. Klopp was never sitting there going, "I will never manage any other club than Liverpool." Never. He never said that. So I'm not going to hold it against him.
If he came back to football for Man United, would you be vexed?
I'd be very angry if he came back to football for Man United because that's just you're taking the piss at that point.
He wouldn't do that.
Tom,
but
it's like there's a picture of Trent in an Everton kit. Like he's not like a proper Liverpool.
Yeah, but Jamie Carragher was an Everton fan.
No. But my point is, why is it that Trent gets held to this standard of he can never?
He was there for since he was 8.
But
no, David, I have no problem
ever again. I'm done. I'm tired.
No, but
I want to go to bed.
I have no problem with Trent leaving. I've never once said Trent could never leave my football club. My problem is the way he's gone about it. And the way he's treated the football club during it. Are you telling me, because this is the part that everyone throws at me, Real Madrid only want him on a free? Bollocks to that. If we gave him a contract and said, we'll sell you for 60 million quid, do you think Real Madrid are going to go, no, you said 60. We'll go sign Pedro Porro for 45. No.
You're now being linked to him.
No, they're going to wait.
Stop trying to sell me Pedro Porro.
No, Real Madrid are this team that are going to try to do whatever they can to get a player that they like. And if they can't get him if they can't get, for example, Saliba, if they can't get him now, they're going to try to get him in 2026. If they can't get him in 2026, they're going to try to get him on a free. It's really on you guys to understand what was going on. It was the worst kept secret in football. Everyone knew it was going to happen. We all could have seen it was going to happen. But the day that it got announced, Tom, you lost your shit because let's be honest, you still expected him to stay more loyal to your club. But at the same time, if he was playing shit, you guys would have no loyalty for him and bin him off any day of the week.
No. Because Trent,
it is true. Because
we have defended Trent against some of the fucking media like you wouldn't believe, which is why we all found it very funny when the moment all the Trent to Madrid news broke, I saw Gary Neville going, he was a bit disrespected by the media, weren't he? Yes, by you. You were the one sitting there on Monday Night Football trying to get your United 08 kit out to show them the body shape for defending one-on-one. You were the ones who took the piss out of him. We defended him then. Now he's gone. You're going, oh, he's an all right player. He's not bad. I don't know why he's being disrespected. The part that gets me about all this, I don't know what people expected us to do. We've done everything we could have done. We've offered to put him on money close to Salah and Van Dijk.
This is why I don't understand, though. This is why I don't understand the outrage, though. This is why I don't get the outrage. Yeah. You guys have offered him a really good deal. He just wants to try something new. You guys have done your best. He has given you the largest part of his life. I understand he could have gone sooner, but I stand by what I said, and I've still not heard a good explanation from a Liverpool fan backed up with any facts. I've seen it backed up with a lie. When he started rejecting deals 2 to 3 years ago, you could have sold him. It's not his fault that your club didn't sell him. He kept on saying, I don't want to stay. I keep hearing these rumors that he kept on saying he might stay, he might sign. What else are you offering? Where's the evidence of that? There's no evidence that he was. There's no evidence he was stringing you along. At the end of the day, right? Let's say now, I keep asking a particular lady out. Okay, oh, do you want to go out for a date? I'd like to date you. Oh, I'd love to be with you. Come on, please go out with me, please. I'm not no adolescent stuff here. Just like I'm being normal, right? Please. Let's just say in like 2.5 years' time. I go on my Instagram. She got married. If I ring her, how dare you? You strung me along. No, she just kept on telling me no. I could have walked away. Like, this is what I feel like you guys have done. He said, no, I want to leave. No, I don't want to stay. Look, you keep offering me loads of money, but I keep saying no. And then instead of selling him, you've waited until he leaves, and now you're all blaming him. I don't get it.
When was he rejecting contracts 3 years ago?
Well, there must have come a point. There must have. I'm talking broadly here. There must have been a point because when most players get close to the last 2 years of their contracts, they have conversations with a club. If, for instance, when it got to 2 years, he said, "Yeah, I really want to stay, but let's talk in 3 months." In 3 months go by. Look, I'm going to stay. I'm Liverpool through and through, but let's talk in the summer. Look, I'm really busy this summer. I'm going to sign a new deal. Come back to me in 3 months. If he kept on doing that, then I agree with you to be angry. But there's no evidence that he did that, is there? I haven't read a single article that said he did it. So I don't get the anger.
I'm not going to talk about what the stories were because we all know it'll be PR against PR when he eventually signs for Madrid. The only thing I'll say is when it came down to that ideal time frame we're talking about 2 years before the deal, Klopp knew he was going, so we got no contracts were being done, and then he announced he was going, and no contracts were going to get done. The time that we could start doing contracts was this summer, because that was the only time when the manager was in place and the structure was in place to start negotiating these deals. Last year was a write-off because the manager was. I
don't think
I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit because the one thing you got, I got you here. I got you. I got you, baby. Your fans have spoke by and large about how well run you are, the seamless transition from one coach to another because you have a club project and a club philosophy, and you're not gonna go from one manager to the next and unearth everything. Example being, you didn't want Ruben Amorim because Ruben Amorim would have to undo a lot of the work that Klopp did in the squad. So for me, if that's all true, then there would be no reason to not sit down and renew the contract of a player that fits the club philosophy.
The players wouldn't have done it though, because you got to bear in mind. So I've been on the show and said in the past few years.
Let's say you're right. Let's say you're right. Let's just say you're right. We don't need to argue it. Say you're right, and the players won't sign because the club was in a situation where they didn't know who was going to be managing them. Why is that the player's fault? Why are you blaming the player for something your club did wrong?
No one's. I'm not blaming the player for not signing a contract when.
Well, you are because you're having a go at him for leaving for free, but you're also saying that the club couldn't offer him a contract because of their manager. Which is it, Timothy?
Because of the way he's carried on this season.
What's he done? He ain't done anything.
He's done everything he wants to. He's tried to get out the back door sneakily with it. This is what we're on about.
Free will. How dare he?
How dare he have a brain?
You know what this is like? This is like people saying he protested. What did he do? He protested. I'm not against the protest. I'm against the method that he protested with. It's like
he had two billboards. He had two billboards and not one. What do you mean he went out the back door? But you do realize that Mo Salah and Van Dijk have spoke to other clubs since January as well. They've had conversations.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why they're getting pay rises.
It's crazy, man. And by the way, and this is why I call bullshit on it. When you guys got accused and you pulled out the Van Dijk deal for tapping up, when he signed in the January after this guy was allowing a club to tap him up behind Southampton's back. When he arrived, none of you went, "Oh, I don't like this Van Dijk. He's a bit of a fucking snake." You were like, "Oh, hello, welcome." I'm going to give another relationship example. And this is what a message for all you young ladies and young men out there. If you get with somebody through the method of cheating, so he's cheating on his girlfriend with you, or you're cheating on your boyfriend with him, or both together, don't be surprised if that person cheats on you in future. Don't act all shot. Oh, I didn't know he was a cheat. I didn't know. Sandra, I didn't know he was going to cheat on. I could never imagined he'd cheat. What, the same man you were sleeping behind his wife's back with? Fuck me. Come on. It's just crazy. Anyway, look, we've got a few more bits to get through before we get to I want to have a quick conversation about who's going to win the Champions League. But this super chat here says, opinions on United going through tonight, plus obviously Spurs as well.
No, it's like that. It's opinions on United. Trey.
Trey. No, I've threatened him. I've tweeted Trey today. If Man United go out tonight, me and Trey are fighting charity match MMA. I'm coming out of retirement, and I mean this jovially. I'm gonna fuck that prick up. If we go out tonight, I am beating up United Trey in a ring, 4-ounce gloves. I am landing one on his jaw because that man's a jinx, bro.
He used to call me a jinx. He's 10 times.
I'm completely convinced that ever since his social media account came up, that is why Man United are bad. I'm convinced because how is he gone to any Man United game that he's been to live and not seen his team win? This guy, I don't know. It is great to me. And you know what? You know that scene in Avengers Endgame where Rhodey is like, "Well, why don't we just go back in time and baby Thanos?" And all I'm saying is,
whoa.
Listen, I do mean it, Trey. If we go out tonight because you're there, you're a drinks. Me and you, I'm challenging you, Trey. If we go out tonight, I'm challenging you to a charity MMA fight. Both give us a little bit of time to get in shape, but I'm gonna have to land one on you, mate. And if you lose, you can never go back to. That's the prize. You've got to think of a forfeit for me. But if you lose, you're never allowed to go to United game again. Point blank. My word. But Spurs tonight, there's big rumors your manager's going to get sacked if you go out tonight. If him going out means you get sacked, means he gets sacked, would you take going out to get him sacked, or do you think it's going to happen anyway?
I think it's inevitable. I think even if we were to go on and win the Europa League, which would be our most successful season in Europe since the 80s, I think even if he were to win it, he'd still be sacked. A lot of the bookies have suspended bets for Thomas Frank. He's the outright favourite. He'd get a significant pay rise. I do think it will be him.
He deserves better than Thomas Frank.
or Iriola from Bournemouth was another one. But look, tonight's a massive game for us. If I see Dominic Solanke starting, I immediately think Frankfurt are going to win because this guy is. I'd start Richarlison. He's got 1 goal since January, and we need to start having serious conversations. £60 million for 7 goals this season. That's the Premier League flop no one's talking about. 7 Premier League goals for 60 mil.
Staffy's got to hold that. Staffy has got to hold that, and he's fucking and he's IQ.
January, Richarlison's got more Premier League goals.
No, we all knew when we saw that transfer. We were like, "Oh, he's a good player, and is this something that Spurs would need?" Yes, but for 60 M's, we all knew this ain't gonna go down well. We just all knew. He's Richarlison 2.0.
Trying to replace Harry Kane, you can't do it in one striker in this market. You need 2 or 3, but to spend 120 million on Richarlison and Solanke is absolutely criminal. Brennan Johnson's our highest goal scorer this season, which to me is madness. But I don't know if any of you have seen the interviews. They expect Tottenham to turn up tonight. I don't know if any of you have watched Tottenham. Whenever there's an ounce of pressure, we crumble, and we are in the most hostile atmosphere in Germany against an informed Frankfurt side. Spurs are the reason. It's as simple. You get more pressure on you playing for a so-called bigger club, and players don't turn up. It's as simple as that. If he goes back to Bournemouth, he'd score another 20 goals a season. Same as James Maddison. Put him back in the Leicester shirt. He's getting 25 GA again.
Here's the thing, yeah. Henry, you man just need to suffer with Ange to the end of the season. And then
we might finish 17th, KJ.
So hey, we might finish 17th too. We're in it together. Don't worry about that. Listen, you guys need to sack him at the end of the season. And you need a Thomas Frank. You need a McKenna, in my opinion. You need these guys who are in the Premier League, who are decent managers, who look like, okay, cool. If you gave them a bit more money, a bit more, a few better players, they could make you stable and they could make you into a good team. That's what you need. You did it with Poch, and that was the foundation of this whole top 6 thing that you got with Spurs and the rest of us.
Yeah,
Poch was the reason for that. So you just need to do that again. Do I think you're going through though?
If they score in the first 20 minutes with Ekatike, they're number 9, which they will. It'll be a bloodbath.
My brain says you're going out. My gut has this feeling you might do it. You know, I've just got this little feeling like this. Again, it's not like I'm a genius football fan. Man United and Spurs have both been so pants this year. We shouldn't even be thinking about finals of a big European competition. But there's another part of me that just thinks that's why we're going to get there, almost because we're not meant to be there and in a final together and everything else. But yeah,
they're trying to do.
I think you're getting through. But I think you're getting through tonight. Gut feeling. I think you're getting through.
Ajax, and we wore that our third kit, the green kit. That they're trying to do it again and wear our third kit, which is also green. And I'm looking at this team going, who's going to be the Lucas Moura tonight? You know, the predicted 11 is our best team available. So there is absolutely zero excuse. Everyone's fitting our back 4. Everyone's fitting our midfield. Yet this manager, I mean, the first leg we battered them. We should have come away with a 3 or 4-1 win. Bergvall hit the bar. Romero hit the bar.
Why all the doom and gloom then?
Last time. Yeah, don't you have a little bit of confidence that you could do it? Because
I've got confidence, but I just like I've got confidence that we will go for it and we'll give it absolutely all. Whenever there's a pressure on this team, we crumble. There's so much evidence to back this up.
You've not got confidence. You've got hope.
Yeah, it's not like you've got. That's what it is. You've got United Trey. You haven't got Spurs Trey going to the game.
No. They do. It's called Tottenham.
Yeah. if we win tonight, I think we will get past Lazio, Bodo Glimt, and I think we will be in the final. I think this is a much harder game because Frankfurt are very good at home. They have got a number 9 who is very good in Ekatike. They got Kevin Trapp back tonight, who's a very experienced goalkeeper. Like, there's a lot of things going for Frankfurt. With us, our away record is absolutely disastrous. We only just about got past Ferner Chavos, which was 2-1. We got destroyed by flipping Galatasaray. You know, our Europa League away record in the history of this competition is not great. So there's a lot of things right now, but you know, we got the green kit on. So
Henry,
yeah, who knows?
You're not selling me the hope that you've got that you're going to go through Biola. You just listed me all the reasons why you're not going to go through.
Yeah, but based on all of that,
there
is hope that, like, I think if we score early and we let Frankfurt come onto us and we get them on the counter with the pace of Tell and Johnson, we can be a threat. But if they score early, we will 100% crumble.
The problem is though, Henry, you can't. Tottenham, the whole game plan of score early and then invite them onto us means you've got to be strong under pressure. An away ground to stop them from scoring. That's everything that goes against Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah. You're gonna have to do a shootout with them. That's what you gotta hope for. A shootout, and you guys are more clinical.
Oh no!
Wait, I've got a question for you guys though. Who's got more chance of going through tonight? United or Spurs?
United, $1,000,000% United. You're at home to Leon.
You see.
Spurs.
No, United.
Our home record is probably worse right now than Spurs.
But you know, again, they've got brother in net. You don't, and this is knockout football. So, like, all it takes is in knockout football. All it takes is one goal, and who's most likely to give up a goal for?
Who would you back in a one-off game? Manchester United or Spurs? Right, there you go. You got your answer.
No. That's true, Henry. But if any team is giving up a foolish goal that shouldn't happen, it's that United team.
I'm saying that. Wait. Spurs. You see that Spurs? You see that Spurs OG on the weekend?
No. But you see
going
what?
ban for ban. They're trying to see which seems worse.
Let me put it like this. Spurs in their last game used up their stupid goal to give up again another brother. But
racist.
It's
just so I'm putting it out there. I don't endorse this message.
We just conceded 4 goals.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it was dead spread another brother, and he happened to score an own goal. But they've already used up their own goal, whereas you didn't have one in the last game. So there's greater chance it happens with you today. That's my only thing. There's no logic.
But Andre Onana is the sole reason they didn't keep a clean sheet. So does that not cancel it out?
No, but the thing is, when it comes to Spurs and United, I feel like I can't use logic. I've just got to come up with stupid reasonings as to why something may happen.
Do you understand how funny it is to go from Wednesday, where Arsenal were a fantastic advert for the Premier League's quality, to this, where both teams are going, fucking hell, what is shit?
We've only won 5 away.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'll say this now. Man United are going through tonight. Man United will win.
Yeah. Bruno Fernandes will turn up again.
Terry Judge. Man United are going through. Goalkeeper will be no problem. Bruno's gonna turn up and absolutely kill it. What's the name of the guy? Cherokee. What's the name of the guy up front?
Cherokee.
Turkey. The turkey. He ain't gonna do nothing, bruv. Mug.
He's doing
Mug.
He knows we're gonna lose.
Man United have
He'll do nothing. He'll do nothing at Old Trafford. He is going to see the TiVo flag. There's going to be the noise, the crowd, the floodlights, and he is going to go back to France with his towel between his legs. That's it. Leon what? You're getting knocked out. You're getting spanked at Old Trafford tonight.
You got room for anyone for Hoyland in your little judge.
The public service announcement. We now have United Trey at Old Trafford. So Trey Judge and Terry Judge combining together. We are going out.
I'm trying to do that. Have you ever seen that Simpsons episode where they test Mr. Burns and they say, like, oh, you've got nothing wrong with you? And he goes, oh, I'm really helping. No, you've actually got all the diseases, but there's so many at once, they cancel each other out. That's what I'm trying to do here. Like, we've got to make up more judge.
Do you guys think if Tottenham lose tonight, Ange will be sacked tonight, or do you think they'll sack him at the end of the season?
I think it'll be in the morning. I think it'll be in the morning.
I was going to say 9 a.m.
Yeah, get your streams ready, baby. I've already got a thumbnail ready.
I know. I've
made a thumbnail 3 weeks ago.
Here's what's going to happen. He ain't going to get sacked in the morning. He will come out and say a quit after that.
Maybe he will. I'm off, mate.
He's someone who want to leave on his own terms. They didn't fire me. I left.
Yeah, he will quit.
He left. Away from that tonight, I want to have a quick conversation. Are Arsenal going to win the Champions League?
I think they'll get to the final.
Yes.
Okay. You think it, David? You think they're winning the champs?
I said it yesterday.
Yep.
The stars right now, it's aligning for them. And that's all the Champions League is. It is just Champions League, you win it on vibes. I genuinely believe that. If you've got the vibe of, oh, we can win this tournament, more times than not, you end up winning it. They've got the vibe of not only were they one of the top teams, not only were they the top teams in the league, they also beat Real Madrid. Maybe not the Real Madrid, but they beat a form of Real Madrid. And they've got PSG, who they've already beat. They're looking at these teams going, we are not scared of anyone. And that's a problem. And then when I look at the other side of the bracket, I've got a Barcelona team that, fine, they can score loads of goals, but that's not what the Champions League's about. And on top of that, I've got Inter Milan. And Inter Milan, half of that team, I don't even rate.
Inter Milan are the best.
Wait. Darmian's at right wing back. Lautaro Martinez is up front. Acerbi's playing centre back. Sommer's in goal. It's cooked. It's cooked.
Now, David, I'm telling you now, I actually think I'm thinking about it. Inter Milan will win the Champions League.
Exactly.
I think as a team, they're the most solid unit outside. It's defensively, I think them and Arsenal are like par and par. But in terms of the attack, I think as an entire team, midfield and above, I think the way that they play is top notch.
Wait, KJ, before you guys do your Champions League predictions, 1 second. I can't believe what you guys just said. You really give Spurs a bigger chance to advance today than us? Spurs. Forget who we are.
I didn't.
Spurs.
Yeah, no, because I don't, because I said your mate, old Turkey Cherky, is going to do shit tonight because he's crap. Mainly because he looks like you bum.
Oh, listen, I'm running a DNA test.
Yeah, you want to make your mom wants to ask where your dad was a few years back. Do you know what I mean? I think he was gallivanting around.
A DNA test because I want to know where my dad was. Because listen, Algeria and Egypt are not that far from each other.
Yeah,
I need to know what my dad was doing about 11 years ago. Well, not 11 years ago.
And
11 years after I was born.
maybe that's where you got your gene for not liking Egyptian women from. Maybe he was like, yeah, as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
You know, that might be it. That might be it. And he was like, I've had enough of this. So he explored another country. But listen, let me tell you guys this. We're talking about Spurs here. David, you've of all people, you've disappointed me a lot today. I'm not gonna lie. But this is Spurs you're talking about. Like, David, you're the only person I know that ignores all context when the name Spurs is being mentioned. You just know, like, when it comes to you, Spurs is like black and white. Oh, Spurs, yeah, lost. That's it. Oh, Spurs, no trophy. Yeah, you don't negotiate anything else because you know that name. What away in Germany, by the way, to the third best team in Germany, away Frankfurt. Have you not watched that Frankfurt crowd in the Europa League final semi-final a couple years ago?
Staffy, humbly, I believe both of you get knocked out. That's what I believe. But the question was, who do I think is getting knocked out more likely?
And yeah, sorry. And David's got a rationale for us. It's the goalkeeper, but David's rationale.
None of us dropping a masterclass today.
Four of us on the show can't push that same rationale because we all get cancelled, lose our jobs, lose our homes.
No, but hear this. Onana's not playing good today. He's dropping a prison
by Keir. I'd get put in prison by Keir Starmer if I said it. Do you know what I mean? It'd be done. Be finished out here.
Onana took the day off. We've seen how shit. What's his name is Bender. So we're back to him. He's dropping a masterclass today. The guy had a week off. I don't know what he was doing.
Let me just get this straight. You think the solution to Onana's problem is him not training?
A day off, yeah.
He had a day off, like he didn't play for us. He was training, but
so your solution to Onana's bad form is to reward them by making them not have to go to work.
Yes, apparently. Maybe he just needs one game a week or one game every 2 weeks, and it's amazing. Maybe
his mind was on football. He didn't play for a game, so he didn't have to do no more mistakes. He just had a couple days off, just came back to training. Today he's gonna drop a masterclass. I'm putting my money on it right now. He's not just playing good.
Come on, United.
First 15 minutes, this man is letting a shot roll under him. The way you're going about him, the shot is gonna be it. It's gonna take a slight deflection. It's gonna roll under him.
No, he's not. And here's another masterclass coming in. Terry's gonna like this one. Today, I don't care about how we play football. There's 4 games left for us to win the Europa League. Bruno Fernandes just carried me. I want the ugliest football today, accompanied with 2 goals. I want a Bruno brace today.
And that's the difference.
I'm telling you what, this guy is not going. This might be our last year in Europe for a couple of years, in my prediction, if we lose. So Bruno is not. I'm telling you right now, I don't think this guy's gonna let it go. Today,
this is Man United's biggest game, and if we get through any Europa League game until the final, will be our biggest game of our most recent history since.
I said that yesterday, and people laughed at me.
It is.
It is true. Guys, I'm going to run out. So, okay, to finish your point, because I've got a super chat. So I want to go back to because I've got like 8 minutes until I've got to go pick up the kids. So, yeah, go and finish that point.
The point is, we just need to win. There we go.
I hear you on that. A few super chats here I want to get through and then just finish the Arsenal and the Champions League winner take. I have some exciting news, gents. In exactly 1 month from now, I graduate from college. I'm curious, what is the number piece, I think number 1 piece of advice you've got, Terry, about the current job you have with the Football Terrace? Go Barca. I don't know what you mean by advice, but when it comes to work, hard work is... Often you hear things like people say work smarter and not harder, and there is a lot of truth in that if you can delegate or if you can streamline your work, but work hard. Typically speaking, in my experience, and I'm talking about someone like yourself you've got a college, you're going to have a college degree, which means you're going to have opportunities, you've got means, you've got a brain. If you work hard, you will prevail. I know you get a lot of these people to try and do talks on the internet now and all these fine and fandangled ways of making it in life, getting up at 4 a.m., putting your face in a bowl of water, rubbing banana skins over your face and everything like that. All of that's great. But if you work hard, if you dedicate yourself to a profession, if you really put the effort in, most people from the UK, from America, from the Western world, most people in those scenarios, barring a handful of really people with issues and no access, you'll do very well. So that's it. Work hard, bruv. Just work yourself not into the ground. Have some fun, but work hard. If Arteta only capable of, is Arteta only capable of focusing on one tournament? If you look at the last 3 years, that's what probably the best negative spin I've seen off the back of them knocking out Real Madrid. And potentially at the moment, yes. I mean, you could make that argument because he hasn't won 2 trophies in a season. You know, it's a very hard thing to do. You mentioned Inter winning it. Anyone else got a different view from Inter? David thinks Arsenal. KJ thinks Inter. What about Barcelona and PSG? Anyone backing them to go on?
Barcelona final. I think Barcelona should be the outright favourites. Their front three at the moment is absolutely ridiculous. Rafinha's online for a Ballon d'Or. Lamine Yamal is. I've never seen since Messi, a footballer at that age, do what he's doing. However, Inter Milan, Tom said this backstage, and he does have a point. The way they're going to set up. They're going to set up perfectly against Barcelona. They're going to make it really difficult. And tactically, Inzaghi is a genius. I do think Arsenal get past PSG though. I think PSG scored 4 goals against Villa. They're not scoring 4 goals against the Arsenal defense. Not the way they're playing.
It's not even about them scoring, Henry. It's about them conceding. Because I think for the sake of football, I'd like to see a PSG Barcelona final. Because if we all just watch that game, and obviously we'll all be neutrals,
going at it.
The winner's gonna. The game's gonna like 5-4. I don't know who's gonna win. But we're gonna watch it.
Champions League finals are shit. We'd hype it up, going, "Oh my god, what a game it's gonna be!" And then
those two, come on,
scrappiest game going.
Those two, Tom, yeah, it would be a high-scoring game. Versus if you see Inter and Arsenal, it's a 1-0. I don't know who's getting 1-0, but someone who's winning 1-0. And actually, for that reason, I actually think the final now is looking more likely like Arsenal and Inter. And for my personal reasons that I've thought about yesterday, I think it's for the betterment of football that Arsenal win the Champions League. I know this is gonna annoy a lot of people. Look at David's face. David, I'll discuss these reasons off air, but I thought about it yesterday. I did my personal calculations. I went into the lab and I was like, you know what? For the sake of football, I actually need Arsenal to win this Champions League. But when I'm being honest here, I do think actually they have a bigger chance now because I watched how PSG ran that game versus Villa and how they were this close from tying and going into extra time. If it wasn't for Conte, if it wasn't for a couple good saves and a couple blocks from the back line, I see Arsenal running that game a lot better than PSG. And I feel like Barcelona, the same thing. That halfway line that they play, I'm not going to lie, I don't really like it. I feel like Inter and Arsenal are better equipped for knockout football right now than them. But if they do make it, don't get me wrong, I'll be very happy because I know I'll get to see PSG and Barcelona score about 8, 9, 10 goals in the final. So,
Staffy, who would you say are favourites?
I have to give it to Inter. But Barcelona are not that far off it. And here's why. Inter have been in the semifinal more in the last 3 years than them. They've actually reached the final. And you can argue if they didn't play the best English side over the last 10 years, 20 years in the treble winning city, they'd arguably win it. I think Inzaghi is much more experienced, is much more equipped for knockout football than all the other ones. But Arteta and his Arsenal team, you don't understand how much more I rank him now over the last 2 games. Like a lot of these players and this manager have graduated in certain conversations from me to other conversations. Like Saka, he's graduated from certain conversations with me. Now I'm putting him in like the debates with like Vini and them when people talk about the best in the world. He no longer sits in the one below it. Like he's no longer in the B tables, in the A table. The way Arsenal smacked Madrid over the last 2 games, and they did it in an attacking game, and then they did it in a defensive game. And these are the things that show me that you can go far and win knockout competition because it's never about being the best team. I seen Chelsea in 2012, arguably the worst Champions League winners I've ever seen in my life, go ahead and win it. And it was all about game management. So, and this team is far better than that. So it's never about the best team. It's about who can run the games better. And Arteta showed me that he actually can run games decently right now. So if he continues that, he might do it. Yeah. If it's based on talent, I'll probably put other teams. PSG, they're obviously there. Barcelona there. But game management is big to win Champions League. And I think Arteta's not far off it now.
What's beautiful is that there is a genuine argument for each team. And I've seen the English bookmakers have Arsenal as the favourites on 28%, but it's very close. I'm sure the bookmakers in other countries would have it a little differently. They also sway, by the way, with in every country, because there'll be a lot more English people putting bets on Arsenal because they know more about them. But I feel it's really even. I really feel like it could go any one of four ways, which I think makes the semi-finals brilliant, which makes, I think, whatever the final is, you could have an all-out shootout. You could have an attacker versus a more defensive-minded team. Again, I'm not even adverse to Arsenal-Inter, because I think that'd be low scoring, but I think it'd be highly intense. It might come down to one player taking a chance that they get. Very similar. I mean, it was a penalty, very similar to their game at the San Siro. So I think there's great permutations with these semi-finals. And I'm really glad, just like last year, that we don't have a team in it like City. Not because it's City, that just dominates 80% of the ball, where it's really one-sided. I thought last year's semi-finals and final were great for that reason. And I'm looking forward to this year as well. I think it's been a fantastic Champions League campaign, and look, two teams as well. One of them will make the final, so there's a genuine chance this year that a brand new Champions League winner is made as well. One of them is guaranteed to be in that final. So yeah, look, it's going to be, there'll be a bit of the heritage talk in the final as well, which will be amazing.
The diversity of teams, by the way, Terry, is so amazing, because like you look at Arsenal, they're arguably they're the best defensive side. You look at Barcelona, I think they're the best attacking side. You look at PSG, they're arguably the best technical side. And then you look at Inter, they're a team that play a three in the back, and their manager is very good at I wouldn't say being defensive, but he knows what games to set like a little bit more defensive, which games there's such a diversity. Like you get to see so many different matchups, and I don't think we've actually seen that over the Champions League over the last few years. So I'm actually excited for it.
And this super chat here says, if Barca beat Real Madrid in the cup final next weekend, they go on to complete the treble. They have the most momentum. This is the thing. I think they're going for a treble. PSG are going for a treble, and so Inter. So you've got, I mean, there was the potential.
We're going for their first ever. So every team has something historic on the line right now.
It's something historic. You could literally have Arsenal potentially in a Champions League final going for their first against a team going for their third or second treble. Like I think it'll be a real great ending to this campaign. Inter is the scariest for Arsenal. They sit back and counter. Do you know what, though? You could be right. I can't speak for Arsenal fans, but I remember doing the match reaction after the Inter game, and they felt they missed an opportunity. They felt they had the chances and didn't take them in that match. So I don't think Arsenal were going to go into that game scared of them. I think scariest is probably the right phrase, but I actually think in neutral ground, I think there'll be a lot of Arsenal fans that will fancy because they've got a better striker now in Marino than they have in Kai Havertz. So I think they might fancy their chances in that one. Look, we're obviously going to have more conversations about this in the coming weeks. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in so far today. Are we redirecting this anyway? Yes, we are. We're redirecting this to Hussam's channel, so go and support him. We're back live after the Europa League. Oh, and Chelsea are playing tonight. I forgot. And Conference League game tonight as well. So make sure you join us to see whether Spurs, United, and Chelsea make it through. Chelsea will. To the next round of Europe. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you to my panel. Always a pleasure to sit and speak football with you. Until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.